A battle of two teams, 1-0 here inside of the East Coast Conference. Converse Gold, by the way, of Spartanburg, South Carolina, and Malloy Lions out of Rockville Center, New York, playing to see who breaks into the 2-0 and who goes down into the 1-1 side. Clutch Key alongside Nerdy Bird with you here for another edition of the ECC Overwatch style as we get set for two teams that have started off very strong, already 3-0 on either side, and one team, Malloy, looking to see if they can break into a top 4 playoff spot. Converse University there last year in a second place, but this Malloy team trying to see if they can break through what is a wall at Converse University.
Okay, so if both teams are 3-0 right now, someone has to walk away with heartbreak and have their perfect record destroyed. I mean, I don't want to hedge my bets leaning in any direction early on, but previously in the past, I definitely have favored Team Converse, and because of that, I actually want to throw my hat in the ring and root for Team Malloy this time. We'll have to wait and see what they end up doing on that virtual field and whether or not they can actually follow up on those requests.
Yeah, Valkyries and Lions going at each other. Now, this is a different Converse team, mind you. This is not the Converse team that we have seen before. This is their goal, not their main team, but we will see the Converse Malloy take on each other right now. Again, both of these teams 3-0 map record-wise, 1-0 on their regular records. Converse in round 1 took down Concord 3-0, and the Malloy, the Lions, taking down the Golden Eagles of St. Joseph's, Long Island 3-0. So we will see, like you said, who breaks that record first, who goes down into the 3-1 record to start, because our first map going on here will be Control, and it will be Busan. So it will be a pretty fun Control map to start us off.
I like Busan. I mean, call me an old record in this instance, but every single one of the submaps here allows for a little bit different types of gameplay to come forward and for each team's compositions to shine differently. So if we're looking at these being what's actually going to be pulled out for the start of this round, I'm excited to see Taco Belly coming out on the Maga, Nova on the Orisa. Our horse, is she going to come out strong, or is she going to get sent up to pasture really early?
Yeah, and it feels like with this patch, by the way, that there's a lot of different combinations that you could go through, and this is going to be especially true next week, Tuesday, when the new season drops and all the perks come out, but we're not worried about that right now. We are worried more or less about the fight going on here between the Valkyries and the Lions to start, as already taking control of the point. Converse has pretty much established themselves in this turret, already back up to full health already, so Malloy's going to have to find their way at a different angle, but a different angle comes Vader to take that first shot and a headshot on the railgun to take down Pineapple, and that signals all but trouble here. It's Converse up and running.
Nova is just having the time of their life, being allowed to do whatever they want. Unfortunately, Taco Belly, I think, was trying to peel and help out their backline a little too soon, and so that just let Nova press onward. And if you're Maga not aiming at the tank when everyone else is looking at you, your health pool is just going to absolutely get devastated. Now let's see if there's a different approach here. Is Julian already getting really low for the Malloy? I hopefully will see both DPS make it to the point here during this engagement.
Well, let's see if they do, because right now just getting speared away is Taco Belly, and well, if the Maga gets speared, you know he's not using Overrun, and that's a big target to impale with. You got 2 hearts to run into, and that's exactly where Taco Bell is going, albeit very, very low. Trying to get back up, but gets stunned out of it and hindered, by the way. But nonetheless here, right now, Malloy just cannot find an answer in. Vader Nova finding picks, and it's fight over already.
You knew things were already getting hairy when the Maga engaged post the use of Amp coming out from Apple. If your Lucio's already used Amp, odds are using the Overrun's not going to be in your favor. And then we saw Lucio struggling to catch up over by the drum. There was just not enough health assistance given over to Taco Belly at that point in time. Just mismanagement of abilities and timing on that is what led to Maga's destruction. Speaking of Maga, though, we're only at 50% ult, whereas everyone on Converse, minus our Torb, does have that check mark ready, so they're pushed forward and they're looking for opportunities to use it, but going up 2 already in this fight, odds are we don't need it, but Orisa says, I don't care, send him to the blender.
Yeah, that feels a little rude. No, that feels a little rude to kind of set up the Terror Surge, but I just feel like Malloy has nothing to push up with. They're trying their absolute best. They're not swapping anyways. They're hoping to see if they can build up ultimate to try to counter this. The problem is Converse, yes, use the Terror Surge, but other than that, nothing on the board. Taco Belly isn't even close to the cage, but here comes the Molten Core in spawn already, just surrounding them. Converse has absolutely dominated the score. They will continue to do so unless Malloy can find a miracle. Molten Core finds one. Pineapple will go ahead and use the sound barrier. Doesn't catch up Taco Belly, but that's okay. Taco Belly is still there. Nova, though, is caught out in the moment, and Pineapple goes down. Nobody else is even close to touching here. And Converse, very, very strong start.
Clutch Key, when that Lucio out in the open, Pineapple hit the sound barrier in front of the Orisa, I was holding my breath. I was panicking. You do not, for the record, normally hit your sound barrier standing right in the middle of a lane. If you're doing that as a Lucio player, odds are someone's looking to click your head off. Vader, Nova did not have Spear in that moment, I think, so you got lucky, Pineapple.
No
Thankfully, there was no Ajax during this broadcast thus far. Knock on wood. I do have a wood desk, so I'm not lying about that one. But I'm interested to see how they change things up here, because honestly, the Maga is just not working into the horse right now. Every time we hit the cardiac overdrive, Nova's just spear spinning and not letting you steal any sort of health.
Yeah, Malloy right now just trying to find any answers. They also, if they can't find answers, they're not going to find a single percentage point right now. And that start again, Vader again is able to railgun Pineapple just immediately. And so Taco Belly with the overrun, running for their life. But instead, it's Orlando getting the final blow, and Malloy run back to the spawn room yet again.
Nova knows exactly what Taco Belly wants, and that is to have them looking at each other. But if you're Nova, that's just a waste of your time. Like, truly, looking at the enemy tank as Orisa is not going to get a lot of work done. But our Orisa is wanting that yet again. It's going to post herself up behind the enemy team. Maga ain't going to turn around, spears into the back line and goes charging forward.
Pineapple gives them a chance at the very least, takes down Orlando, but they're going to turn this right on its head. Screw the 5v4. They're going to say they make it a 4v3 for them instead, but an advantage still working out in the favor of Malloy for right now because they still have the tank in play. Nova out and just running away still. I mean, regrouping with the rest of the team, fine, but giving up all that space where the Torbjorn's just running right up at you and falling low health. You had a chance. Malloy just doesn't take it.
This time I'm pretty sure we're going to have to burn a couple seconds to check our angles, but thankfully there is not going to be a horse hiding in the corner. Not all the time is Overwatch Valorant, but when it is, you do get punished. We're coming up on this overclock coming in from Vader. We could see a lot of bodies hitting the ground very rapidly. Don't know if it's going to be combined with anything else. Typically, it don't need nothing, but Terra Surge getting dangerously close as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately you can't spear an overrun. But this time, you can spear while he's not overrunning. Vader, again, Pineapple just getting caught by the secondary railgun just over and over again. Multi-core right on the entrance here, seeing if they get rid of the duplication from Julia, which it does. And now Nova takes on over the floor here, taking care of Taco Belly, and the tank is doing some work. Battle Cattle out. It is traded out one for Malloy, but that's all they're going to get.
Malloy is stuck using their ults responsively so many times in these engagements. We see that orbital ray coming down in response to something out from Converse, rather than them using it advantageously in conjunction with their own ults. Taco Belly, I have yet to see a cage fight from you, my friend. I think it's time to give him the ghost, but as I'm saying that, you might get turned into one. Nope, it's Pineapple who's going back to spawn.
Yep, Terra Surge out already. Yet again, this Lucio just feels like you are not having a great time. This is just clear dominance here from Converse. 8% left until a clean 200-0. And I don't even know if they even get the chance there. Doomfist will try their best, but it's just a boop. It's just a solid. There is a touch on the point here, but what matters is the kills on the floor here. Overclock is used from Vader. It's fouled one off the Taco Belly. No other touches. And a clean 200-0. Not a speck of dust from the Valkyries onto the point. It is Malloy that goes away with nothing, and Converse comes out with a 1-0 lead.
All right, let's take a quick look at this play of the game. It's going to be Vader. I actually kind of had no doubts. I would pin them as the MVP for this game overall. They had some awesome early engagement picks. This was, in fact, the very beginning of this series. Is our POTG coming in for this Sojourn. Gets 1 and 2 in conjunction with that Lucio boop to help him out. Vader was absolutely demolishing, taking these off angles and holding themselves strong the entire time was great. I think they did get eliminated once, but beyond that one elimination, it was just them finding and clicking head after head the entire time.
Yeah, and basically for Malloy, excuse me, this is going to be a really tough challenge. And coming back from a 200-0 seems pretty difficult, especially considering that you were held in your spawn for a good couple of chunks there in that first map of Sanctuary, and then Mecha Base, you might as well call it spawn if you're holding into that regular choke point up the stairs and everything. So this is going to be really tough. And for hybrid map, we had a little bit of a, I shouldn't say small bit, but a little bit of a small prediction going on behind the scenes as to what our next map would be. And Observer, Mr. Cool Scoot, sorry, you're wrong. We're going to the classic. Yeah. It's called Kings Row.
In Scoots' defense, though, I will say, man, it fully admitted, I'm a little tired, so that was just no evidence, no numbers involved. I'm going to say Eichenwald. So he ran with it. I respect it. But at the end of the day, you predicted it'd be Kings Row. It is going to be Kings Row. This is a tried and true opportunity, I feel like, at least if you're Malo, to try and bring this back in your favor. But honestly, we got to drop the Maga. Really, the Maga's just not working. You're struggling a lot right now, Taco Belly. I love Maga. I love the ability to not die, but if you are not getting the attention from the enemy tank that you want, it is time to stop trying to chase after your crush. It's Valentine's Day, but maybe we go after someone else, and to that I say, maybe we go Winston. Maybe we throw in a little diva. Heck, you could even go Hazard if you want to. It's all up to you, but the Orisa's just not that into you, my friend.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Battle Cattle just doesn't have any affection for the big Samoan man. So this is going to be a big challenge to try to take this over here from Malloy. This is their map pick, but they call this Scrims Row for a reason. This is the home of what you would call a very different compositions. And in fact, in this meta, again, this could go any which way. But Malloy will respond to your call. They will not go on to start with the Mauga. Instead, we'll match with the Sojourn, and we'll go onto the Junker Queen instead.
I'm actually really excited to see the Junker Queen come out. The sustainability and survivability that comes from JQ in conjunction with Shout is great. I foresee Rebellion not sticking on a secondary hit scan here, so just Widow. This will probably get early intel, early damage, maybe one pick if we're lucky, but this isn't Widowmaker in her heyday. This is current Widow. She likely will not find an elimination from here. Rebellion, you're just aiming at the tank at this situation. I think it's time to swap off. Okay, please, thank you. But we're going to slide in if you're Julian and claim this angle, and we're chasing down this Torbjorn. I think some people are a little hurt over the things that were done by that Tor, but unfortunately, 3 will fall very early.
Feels like that was super immediate. Yeah, that's a team kill. That's a team kill within the matter of 10 seconds from when that fight started off, and Malloy will go ahead and make their swaps on over. This will be a Genji pick instead. But that Torbjorn's going to cause that Genji a whole lot of strife unless you're able to get rid of that turret very, very early on. Let's see, with the Disruptor shot being piled on, maybe trying to get the same or maybe a different angle. They tried the Alderworth Hotel, but can't check into a hotel that's going to kill you. So now they're going to try this angle yet again, but this time it will be the Torpedoes that are able to take care of Orion. Malloy's found an open door, and check-in time, it happens to be right now for Malloy. They find an answer, they find a push, and this will be points for them.
So to play off what you said earlier, the hotel that will kill you, well, it looks like Converse was also trying to be in there. It was Hotel California in their eyes, but unfortunately they were forced to leave. Malloy finally be able to lock this down, and we have significant ult charge coming through here. I mean, yes, we've got that Kitsune Rush almost ready to go. We have the Terra Surge online almost, but Kitsune is got that check mark. Pluto has this orbital ray. If Malloy can buy some time in this lane early on when they cross Archway, wait for that orbital ray to come down, it could be huge, but instead they're gonna get forced back by an early Kitsune Rush instead.
Yeah, early Kitsune Rush allows this team from Converse to walk right in. They're not even going to wait for the Archway. They're going to wait for them at the spawn door. The spawn room right on open there. But they're not even going to let them breathe for a moment. That cart, 11 meters just outside of the clock tower, but like time is running up here because they've got plenty of time. 5 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock is what they started with, Artie, but this is going to be a little rough to get through here, and yep, it's back at the entrance, and they're going to try this. Are they going to try the hotel again? It looks like they are. They're going to go right through it and try to force their way in, try to make something happen here. Terra Surge comes out from Nova. Is this going to be enough damage to do anything? No, Pineapple's there for the South area to give them hope at the very least. And now it'll be the overclock, but Julian in the middle of a molten core, not finding a lot of value here, and Chance and Orion giving themselves a whole lot of damage to do so, and it will be a Sapphire also invested by Chance. I mean, if I'm Malloy, well, you used 4 ultimates, I don't know if that fight was worth it.
So my statement still stands from Malloy from the earlier map, and that is you're stuck responding. And Taco Belly, my friend! Okay, I don't know what the plan is, but let's not go through main. Let's go high ground. Yes, we're going to have Arlanta poking you out a little bit. The Disruption Sphere goes through, but you should be able to rotate safely in conjunction with your Lucio, who's getting dangerously low. Oh my goodness.
Yep. By the way, here comes the Mauga again. Here comes the Mauga, thinking this might be the answer. So, well, I know we'll get your word on it after this next fight. So we'll find out. Pure Sphere immediately in between the eyes of Taco Belly, but that's okay. Got enough healing for right now. This Archway is going to be so hard to try to take over. Sphere yet again. They're trying to make sure Taco Belly's got no entrance whatsoever and trying to make that space. Orion already pushing up to the top. Getting a headshot to start that shot, by the way, from Orion. So impressive, this angle, but Malloy holding off for right now.
Look, I'm telling you, let's just bypass trying to go through this teeny tiny little archway. And what you can do instead is do the exact same rotation you did, but instead of dropping on your side of the payload, drop on the enemy side where there's so much more room to work with. Flip the fight, put it more in your favor. They obviously can't meet you up there except for Vader in conjunction with Chance. So you could theoretically take down 2 people if they try to go up there. Instead, we're going to force our way through the midsection yet again.
Yeah, they have the option to go up the stairway right next to them. However, instead, again, running right into a Kitsune rush that is going to do so much damage to a team that knows how to aim. Orion has got 2 already, and this is just starting to fall apart here. Maybe 1 more for the road, which they do. Genji and Sojourn do not make it back into the spawn room point. Again, Malloy with all the answers. 3 minutes elapsed when they had 5 minutes and 5 to start this.
Okay, we do have a blade ready to go. We have something in our pocket. We also are coming up on Beat, but Beat should likely be saved to be responsive in this moment. I know I mentioned let's not be responding with our ults, but that's when that's okay. We rush in, we hit the blade. The response is going to be using Terra Surge in conjunction with that Molten Core to lay down the red carpet and say, Genji, you shall not survive. Taco Belly, you will not either.
Yeah, neither is the rest of this team. They're just going to melt away here. So they use the blade, they use the sound barrier, nothing there. And now Converse has built up to ultimates yet again. By the way, Arlanta last fight using Kitsune Rush and already up to 61%. I mean, this is just so much healing coming from this Kiriko right now. Vader, Chance, both having their ultimates on a sound barrier and an overclock. Malloy, closest one right now, closest to, I should say, an overclock and an orbital race. So we will find out if Malloy can finally get past him as 4 minutes have elapsed since they got that 5 minutes and 5-second mark on the first capture point. That is their first nap point, in-game nap point, I should say. But will it be enough to make some space? They're just holding on for right now, but they got to know that at the top of their screen, they're running out of time, and they don't have a lot to work with here, especially if they're going to be trapped. They need to find some way to go. They were waiting for the hyper ring, and here we go. Overclock is up, stunned for a little while. That's going to be Chance using the sound barrier to protect Vader for a couple of moments. Cage is also out, but Cage is destroyed immediately by Vader and the rest of that Kitsune Rush. Again, our laptop building that up so quickly is so good for Converse, but a trade fight like this favors the way of Malloy so far. However, it's just the Lucio left on point, and that might as well be a fight lost.
And if you're Pluto right now, you need to not stagger yourself. Just find yourself getting eliminated as quickly as possible. Orisa is at 163 health, so they're choosing to disengage. Their Torbjorn might be stuck between a rock and a hard place. Rebellion will get that final click down, make sure that Orion is sent back to the spawn. We should have significant breathing room here with the amount of delay with waiting for Torbjorn to come back. That means Nova likely has to hit this ultimate and make it juicy. We're going to hit the orbital ray in response. Taco Belly also, side note, has swapped over to the horse, so we've got a battle of the cattle here.
Battle cattles are out, but is it going to be enough? They trade 2 for 1, even with the Terra Surge out. Torbjorn comes back a little bit slow. He's able to take care of Nova, which is big. That's an Orisa down. One Orisa left on the floor, and that is Taco Belly. Molten Core here to cover up the entire payload area and burn away. Taco Belly can't stay down on the dance floor, but that is full of lava. Orion and Vader getting their final blows, and this should be it, because all you got left are a Juno and a Lucio. They may be mobile, but they're not unkillable, and it will be Malloy giving themselves 1.88 meters, but at the end, Converse puts up the fence.
Look, Taco Belly, I think going toe-to-toe with Nova on the horse is your best bet here. The showing was good. There was significant adjustments made between the second fight that came out versus every fight thereafter from Converse. That is why the adjustments for the KJ, unfortunately, when you're playing JQ, you have to be very adaptable with any tank, truly, because that Orisa started to read you like a book. So that's why unfortunately, our JQ stopped to work in that moment. So we had to make another change. We swapped to Maga, but the Maga previously was getting read like a book, so we're just going back in the chapters as opposed to writing a new story here. But when we finally pulled out that Orisa, things started moving in the correct direction, and we're going to do it again. Taco Belly, I know you can't hear me, but I'm going to make believe that the ESP from me has made it to you.
Yeah, we will find out here for Malloy at the very least, because if Taco Belly stays onto this Orisa, this could be a difference. But Converse may be noticing that. I mean, this could be a bait, obviously, because this is their attack. This is their attacking side, and they're inside of the Cathedral right now. But they do have Nova on the Reinhardt showing Orion on the Soldier, unless, I mean, this could be a for fun composition, or this could just be a bait. I'm leaning towards bait at the moment because of how they've been playing so far.
I mean, I will too, but also Ash Lovely, don't get me wrong, I do love Maga. I appreciate that he has both hearts available and pumping for Orisa, but I also have a huge crush on JQ, and she wasn't working either. But now we've got Nova coming out on the German man. I mean, the best way I can put it is this man is a beast in himself, but he gets walled off. Nova's just standing strong, holding up the shield, but the horse is saying, no, you are going to get punished, so Nova, your health is getting chipped away.
Yeah, main wall, very, very good for the side of Malloy here, because that allows them to trap this Reinhardt, and if the Kiriko TPs, you might as well think that the Kiriko is gone as well. Echo in for Julian, and they have Orion in the backline, but I don't know if they completely know that, and you're lucky Orion doesn't get any assassin kills as a Torbjorn there, but at least Malloy, for the moment, has himself some breathing room. The question is, can they keep this going? Now switching on over to the Orisa instead. Nova trying to counter out that Mei for a little while. Now they're going to push out the entire team. Splits the entire team in half, mind you, while Taco Belly has to play up front. Comes back to the rest of the team. Nova falls down to half health around the corner. Taco Belly playing around this mini health pack inside of the statue. Getting overheated already, which means that that's more space that Converse can take here with the javelin spin. Already caught up into the corner too, but they're just waiting. Somebody has to blink into the staring match. The Mei finding a headshot could very well make the difference here, and yet Nova will push up yet again. Samir though comes up first by Pineapple, also with the speed boost as well, and a good wall to keep out Nova for the current moment, stuck in between the annals of the wall. Now it's going to be the Kitsune Rush. This is Converse bread and butter here. To get the Kitsune Rush out and to give them a fight win isn't enough though. To have the chain or the duplication from Julian onto the Soldier instead to make something happen, and Malloy has some answers, so a lot of ultimates used in the, or rather 2 ultimates used in this fight, but Malloy looks like they're going to be able to win this.
Oh, Julian getting a little overzealous on the high ground, not buying your time, ends up getting eliminated. We see a Blizzard hit down onto the objective. Suzu forced out by our Lanta, but it does allow our horse to stay alive. Now, we have Molten Core. We're coming up on a Vader overclock yet again, and then a beat there just in case to keep everybody alive. Malloy, Taco Belly has this Terra Surge. We have Pluto with the Orbital Ray. Those two things combined can be absolutely massive. However, unfortunately, I don't think this squad is going to make it back to the objective in time to prevent this capture. We see, oh, never mind, I'm going to eat my words. That was huge. They come in perfectly timing those two ults together. They take down Chance. Pluto unfortunately does fall, as does Julian. The re-engagement was good, but unfortunately it ended in divorce.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate, but the main thing here is that, I mean, nobody gave them a chance. I will say that. Nobody gave them a chance with the Terra Surge, because that actually pulled Taco Belly towards the point, so, I mean, take it for what you will. But they also now have a deficit, Converse did at the start of Malloy's attack, of 1 minute and 8 seconds, but that doesn't seem to matter when Ryan got a hammer kill. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That's got it. That's, oof. Is all I can say to that one, as they push them all the way back into the corner of third point. I mean, this is how aggressive this Converse team is.
I think our Torbjorn might be a little heartbroken and trying to take that out on other people today. We'll have to see if that's really the case later on. I mean, you know, when your heart is broken, you tend to be an angry person. I've heard sometimes that short people tend to be the angriest.
Oh, well, I mean, let's see if that keeps holding true for Orion. If we get another hammer kill in this entire series, yeah, you might know that there's something out of it here. But that, by the way, the payload moving very, very slowly, but still getting to that golden box of victory is going to be tough. It's in the final 5 meters, but Vader's just going to take out the entire Malloy team. That is 3 final blows on that play. Could be Pot G yet again for Vader, and Converse strikes on a 2-0 lead, leaning towards match point.
All right, we've got Nova coming in with the POTG. Tanks having their moment here. Also, to anyone that's only ever played Overwatch 2, now that the classic mode is out, they finally get to see what Halt looks like and understand that highlight intro. So it's kind of nice to have that coming back. Anyway, we got a horse POTG, so we've got DPS. We had the tank do it now in match 3. If the trend continues, support might get a play of the game. And yes, Kiriko, Juno, Lucio, since those are the only 3 supports we're seeing right now, I'm going to lean into y'all. Please, someone, show that supports can actually make magic happen.
Yeah, support line, you know, I mean, there's only a few supports, right? It's less than the tanks, it's obviously less than the DPS, so there's not a lot of options to switch off to, but you got to figure that there's got to be some kind of composition to try and help this team out right now, because it does feel like, I mean, if you're looking at just the ult charges alone, right, for this team from Converse, they're building up their ultimates for support-wise a lot quicker than that of Malloy's one, right? That Kitsune Rush, you fire from Arlanta used in the matter of twice in 3 fights, which is crazy to say in itself for the amount of healing that that's going for. So now we'll see if Malloy can get a little bit of a differential. But here we go to our last map, or what could be our last map. I won't say last map entirely, but Flashpoint comes up next. Only 2 here already. So, I mean, for Malloy, backs against the wall.
Their backs against the wall. They picked what I would say is probably the better map to pick. It's a little less punishing in straightaways, and this is why when sometimes I'll use the term lanes. There's a lot of openness when it comes to playing on New Junk City, so I understand going into Suravasa. Now, this is where I get a little bit scared, because you did point out that we had a Kiriko with a lot of ult charge very rapidly occurring. And the one thing that's happening is because they're not having to do so much caretaking of their tanks, they're able to do a lot of damage. And when you're able to actually fully utilize your kit as a support player in those moments, doing damage, a little bit of heal here and there, leaving your DPS to maybe have to go get a health pack on time to time, because those do exist. And being someone who's able to keep up with your team in those moments, getting those rushes is exactly what's keeping them on top. And it's because their Kiriko is putting in work and not just putting out paper for their team.
Yeah, it's just these healing Ofudas give you a lot, but also the kunais give you a lot of damage, plus alt charge at the same time too. So this team from Converse right now looks like they cannot be stopped by the hands of Malloy. Malloy did score their first in-map point, which is after 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and they held pretty well in the defensive end as well. Again, that deficit between Malloy and Converse. Converse was actually down by 1 minute and 8 seconds, but they just decided to run the table after that to get that second point and the golden box of victory with no retaliation or no answers from Malloy whatsoever. So we got a little bit of a change here from Converse. They're gonna swap almost entirely here besides the support. Nova on the Wrecking Ball, Orion on the Venture, Vader on the Tracer, and Converse showing you their depth here. Let's see if it pays off, because Arlanta, bloodthirsty support, 2 headshots on the kunais already, looking for another elimination, which they do. Suzu's out, but Converse, man, they can show you their flexibility.
Look, I love this competition. Ball right now is at a very healthy spot, so it does make me happy to see Nova pulling out the Wrecking Ball, but this is like a more enclosed space version of an Untouchables composition, because the variant is that instead of having the Venture, you would have maybe an Echo instead, but because we're indoors, we're dealing with enclosed spaces. This coming in with Venture, great. It is all about disruption, getting people in rotations, but Taco Belly at least will send 1 person back to spawn in response to 4 of their teammates going to spawn.
Yeah, it's not going to matter if Taco Belly falls themselves. It's a good thing you regroup with the rest of the team at the very least and get back to full health. But Converse is pushed up all the way. And does Malloy take advantage of what could be a 5v4 situation? Wrecking Ball right behind them, though, and making sure that this Echo not feeling a little bit comfortable in their position. So we'll move back to spawn. And we'll switch off, by the way, Malloy. And that's going to be Julian switching on over to the Torbjorn instead to maybe even take care of this entire dive situation that is Converse. But look at Malloy already falling down to oh so low health without even entering towards the points. Malloy's just got to find a way to get in, but unfortunately, look at this. False bomb available. Trying to hide. Do you have a chance to do so? You get a stick, no roll, and finds a way to kill Julian. I think that stick was onto SOS Rebellion first and foremost, but I think that Julian runs into it by accident, so it'll be a clean wipe here, and Converse starts off 100-0 on the mark.
I want to hang on to the idea that I used to say about these maps, which is the first 2 objectives don't matter, but the showing we are getting from Converse is making it seem like, yeah, you're right, because that's just us setting up the pace for the remainder of the game here, which could very likely be true. We have 0 adjustments being made from Malloy at this point. Yes, we do have the swap over to the Cassidy, which can help against this Venture, but Orion does not seem to be shaken up by the idea at all.
Nope, doesn't seem like it now. Small pathway here, and it's going to allow for a tectonic shock from Orion here, which already gets the final blow up down to the turret. That's enough to keep them on hold for right now. Julian falling down. Malloy with 4 ultimates on the board. They didn't even need a single one. Or they couldn't use a single one, I should say.
Yeah, this is a case of he who ults first wins the fight. We had chance doing, and this is something that you only do as a Lucio player, I feel like, when you are feeling uber confident, and that is beating for aggression. We have Taco Belly then dropping down the cage fight. Orion will be one to fall because of it. If only Chance had not beaten for aggression last round, cough cough. Rebellion will hit the Deadeye and manage to take out Nova, but they are kind of boxed in because of the landmines, and we have to play cleanup crew for a little bit here.
Yeah, even using the Deadeye there, don't think it was fully necessary, but does go anyways just to make sure that that Wrecking Ball doesn't get to play for a little while. The big thing here, though, Orion comes back and takes down Pluto. That's a Judo gone. That's an orbital ray gone. If Converse is quick enough to respawn here, they could very well take advantage of this, but Nova falling oh so low. Nothing doing there, so Malloy will have all of their players here in this next fight. Three ultimates available coming up on a Molten Core and a Soundbearer. But yet again, Arlanta taking out Pluto. Pluto's just not having fun.
Arlanta? Arlanta? Oh my gosh, were you chasing down Pluto?
I guess so. I mean, Arlanta being very, very bloodthirsty, and now the rest of the team allowed to play even more bloodthirsty as the Kitsune Rush comes out. And this is going to be a point flip immediately. Nova finding two is wonderful here. And, I mean, Pluto just couldn't even get to activate, let alone respawn.
Arlanta, it was bloodthirsty during the last map. I feel like it's just more evident now because at this point when you're playing the comp of Disruption here, you come in, you use your Wrecking Ball abilities in conjunction with what was originally a Venture. You do a lot of damage, and then Cleanup Crew, the second wave comes through and helps pick up all of the pieces and clean things up, and that is why we're seeing so much additional value, at least in the kill feed right now. But I think when you make a bunch of swaps, and there's ults on the line from the enemy team, you're gonna get punished. So odds are, yeah, Malloy will manage to flip the objective back in their favor. We're in last fight territory, regardless of who ends up winning this one.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, it looks like Vader still wants to fight this. They're not even paying attention to the Tracer at the moment. They're paying attention to anything but it. So Vader's gonna go ahead and take down Pluto yet again. So you're out of a Juno. You do have the Soundbearer used by Aptly, and it will be a Decayed fight used to keep this Wrecking Ball in check for a little while, especially with the Somber. You also get the Kiriko involved as well, but they're allowed to turn this around on the rest of the team. There's going to be the virus that's put onto the turret, but that's instead Julian now using the Molten Core. See if this does anything. Julian's found two because Vader runs into it. Julian found a third, and Malloy might score this point here unless this Wrecking Ball can keep up. It is going to be Pluto in a lot of trouble here. No healing from Lucio either for right now, just clearing out the point. Happily does take care of Nova, and Julian, all you have to do is take care of Lucio. If you don't have a turret up, that's fine, because the team will help you out. Malloy scores the point, and we're tied at 1.
All right, Taco Belly's finally come on live. I don't know, did someone hand him a Doritos Locos Taco during the last two matches? Well, two maps, because the Maga we're seeing now is drastically different, but Shout is playing more into keeping your team alive in these moments. Unfortunately, you can't keep Julian alive when he's not in your Shout radius, so your Torbjorn is in the Nether Realm for the time being.
Yeah, which also means that Converse has a 5v4 man advantage going into this, and that, well, a Pulse Bomb lands, a Pulse Bomb will take you out another big piece, and that's a Lucio to get you speeded onto point here. Taco Belly goes down, the dive just all over the place. Converse just putting up all the answers, and that clip nasty to take down the Somber. Converse takes guarded first.
I mean, I know that we have Converse fans in the chat. Hopefully they're clipping some of this stuff for their Overwatch team, because there are some definitely highlight reel-worthy moments occurring here. So we have Julian pushed too far forward, getting punished for it, and then Arlanta sees the opportunity. We have the player advantage, hit that Kitsune Rush. Yeah, the overrun's gonna take you out of the rush, but the rest of my squad's still behind me. Maga, you get sent back to spawn.
Yeah, Maga gets sent back to spawn. So does the Somber with EMP available. Julian, by the way, again, Arlanta just hitting shot after shot on these kunais. Just unbelievable from Malloy, from Converse, I should say, right now, and Arlanta still confident, hanging out, just saying hello right in front of the spawn room, knowing that they're not even looking at Nova onto the backside. Nova takes the rollout. Nova into the back line, bumping around a few people, gets back to the rest of the team. That's how quick this Wrecking Ball can be. EMP available from SOS Rebellion, holding onto Pluto, also having a very good orbital ray that can play out, but and Aptly's already dead and has the Soundbearer available. Did not try to use Pulse Bombs out. Pulse Bomb almost runs into the rest of the team, but this EMP still not used, and this is going to be second point headed on over to Converse. Malloy not using a single ult because they couldn't.
I I see how, okay, look. You mentioned it right at the start of the fight. We still had the EMP. If something is close enough to you to kill you, and you're really needing this objective, yes, hit the EMP. But the issue then, unfortunately, was where with the follow-up beat, Pineapple didn't have AMP. That might have been a conversation that took place, was, hey, do you have AMP? And it was a no. So there was no choice but to lose the fight and lose the point. But because they held on to that EMP, we're catching out. Converse in rotation, we hit the EMP, we get Nova, we get Orion, and now we should be able to make it to the objective and lock it down. As we do, I think Nova recognized their mistake, and that is trying to take down a Sombra who has EMP with the rest of the squad right there. You gotta respect the enemy when they deserve it, my friend.
Yeah, they win the fight, but they're still ways away here from the point itself, and this is Nova on this point right now, just holding on to it and making sure that they're forcing Malloy to come all the way back here to the point and making sure that Converse can still get the rotation. It's a cage fight. By him loans himself, Orion is in there, and Torbjorn does not escape death. Cannot escape the cage. It's a Kitchen Rush used from Converse. They still think they can turn this around, and with the way our Lance and Vader are playing, why not? Why not try this? But Julian then releases the Death Blast to get two. They can still turn this around, though. This fight is still not over. You have the Wrecking Ball in play, and the Tracer can still do some damage. It's Tracer versus Manga on this point from the looks of it. Osmond goes wide, no stick there, and it will be the Overwatch trying to stop the Tracer. Pass a blink left. I mean, this fight is going back, but guess who's back in play? It is Orion with the hammer kill instead. The turret takes down Pineapple. Converse somehow finds a way to turn this back.
Look, that felt like two fights combined into one. When we saw Taco Belly go in with the overrun and then Julian hop in with the Death Blossom, I really thought that they had it, but unfortunately, I think the overrun might have booped some people out of what I would consider the radius of destruction, or like the death zone on the Death Blossom coming out from Julian. So it ended up not fully working in their favor. If they could actually time them perfectly and had it on top of one another, perhaps it would have been in their favor this time. We're gonna come in with that orbital ray first and foremost, and Julian's already getting pushed out of it by the enemy Lucio.
Yeah, just pushed out of it. Kitane Rush, or not Kitane Rush, excuse me, Orbital Ray comes out from Pluto. It's still not going to matter. Vader and Orion have found their kills yet again. This Torbjorn cannot be stopped. Neither can this Tracer combination. And Chance wants to use the sound barrier for domination here just to assert dominance, because Chance finds two on the sound wave. It's 66% already final fight territory.
The unfortunate truth, Pluto, is that you are playing Orbital Ray, which requires your team to all be together in a spot, or for a person to be inside of it to take advantage of it. But Converse, just Nova alone on this tank, that is enough to push people out of Orbital Ray. And then you have Chance with those sound wave boops. Pluto, you're getting sent back to spawn. Your team can use your Hyper Ring, but I don't know if it's enough to make it to the objective with 99%, 100%. There it is. 3-1 on Flashpoint, going to Converse.
Converse winning the series 3-0 on a sweep. So Converse Gold, Valkyries coming out of this Valentine's Day, loving the record and loving the win. That is a 2-0 record, a perfect 6-0 map record here for them to start off the season. Malloy dropping to 1-1, and the pot G belonging to Orion. Insane play, by the way. None of these kills here were by turret kills, instead all by primary fires, plus a hammer as well. You got to include that in there for the pot G, and that is a Converse Gold sweep and a Valkyries team that looked pretty dang good here in the East Coast Conference.
I'm excited to see what they bring to the table going forward. I mean, I said at the start of the broadcast, someone had to walk away getting a blemish on their perfect record. It just happened to be Team Malloy in this instance. Converse gets to keep theirs going, at least for now, until they meet someone that is going to teach them a lesson. I don't know if that'll actually happen, though.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to beat them, and otherwise the only undefeated team, the only undefeated team left to go here is in Southern New Hampshire, who are playing right now against St. Joseph's, Long Island. So that game going on. Also, the College of Staten Island taking on Concord. So those are your other two matches. But we know the final score for this one. It is 3-0 over here, and we'll see if we get any updates from that other side as well. But good luck to all of those teams, and of course, good luck to the rest of the teams here in their season as well. But if you're going to run into Converse, you better be ready. And especially now, teams are going to have to run into Perks. So we'll get into that next week when that comes out. And I know this entire community is going to go nuts when that patch drops at the same time. So we will start to wrap things up here. Thank you very much. And we say thank you very much to our producer, Colton, as well as our observer, Cool Scoots. Coming up on Sunday, Artie, you're going to be involved in something really cool. It's the Esports UNI Tournament Grand Finals broadcast. The winner there punches their ticket to the big dance at CECC May Madness in the game of Valorant. So check that out. So again, for my partner Nerdy Bird, we bid you farewell as one more time our final score, a sweep here for Converse Gold, 3-0 over the Malloy Lions. Until Sunday, we say good night as you've been watching another edition of the East Coast Conference right here on Esports U.